¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. Welcome, everybody. How's it going, everybody? For some reason, Restream bot is still not working. Hey, Bond, how's it going? Welcome. To figure out what's going on with the chat. Settings, I guess. I don't know. Settings. Yeah, I'm not seeing... I'll have to play around with this more. Anyways, alright folks, we have a lot of things to go through this time. So we probably should get started. Alright. So just to kind of neatly tie up what's the very important discourse that that revolved around Obama's sex life, apparently. None other than Pimtool decided to have a take on it. So I guess we should take a listen. Or yeah, we should take a listen.
Legitimate political reason. Well, let me slow down. There's no legitimate factual reason to interview a con artist and crackhead who's making these absurd claims. I'm not a fan of this. I wasn't a fan of it when they did it to Brett Kavanaugh.
So right there, these are completely two different scenarios. One involved testifying under oath. Okay. One involved testifying under oath. And the implication then, if these things are equal, then you are basically equivocating the testimony of Ford, Blasey Ford, to the same testimony from an alleged fraudster, con man slash, drug addict, supposedly. I don't know. Alia with the 11 biddies, thank you. GOP pundits always have negatives, and it's Obama and Biden's fault. Trigger warning, Tim Pool. True.
I'm not a fan of it now. That being said,
yeah. So again, these two stories are completely non-comparable, because again, the person that they're comparing to testified under oath in front of the Senate. So yeah. versus a, like you said, like a known liar, like a known con artist. Blasey Ford doesn't have that history. Never did.
Applaud Tucker Carlson for doing it. You know why?
And of course, now he's pivoting to, well, it may or may not be true, but it's good, actually. Like, this is the same, like, guy that supposedly, like, had a lot of issues with, like, the truth being manipulated by the mainstream media. Of course, it's all, like, nonsense and virtue signaling because he doesn't care. But here, essentially, like, he's saying that, well, actually, we should do it. Oh, hello, cat. All right, Bakita will be doing the news with us on my lap. Hunter Biden laptop. Why is Hunter Obama running for VP or cabinet position? Well, no, it's perceived. Well, this story, this particular story, Tim Pool will tell you exactly what he thinks is going to happen, or what the goal is.
Welcome to the Tit for Tat world of politics. So to clarify, there's a political reason to do this, to attack the Democrats, I guess, to make them look like degenerates, to strike at the...
So, like, right then and there, like, first of all, that's pretty freaking, like, that's a pretty red flag. And the only type of, like, the only type of context where this makes sense is from, like, a fascistic, point of view. So, like, what Tim is saying is, like, basically the only, there's a good reason as to why you should paint Obama as a quote-unquote degenerate, because, like, basically conservatives would consider a gay relationship or a gay interaction to be degenerate, which is a massive red flag. So basically, like, this idea that Tim Pool is some kind of centrist is nonsense. Tim Pool's world of politics, no thanks. Impeach Hunter's laptop, true. Welcome, bipedal meatbag.
The credibility of the Obamas, maybe...
It doesn't, though. Like, what credibility would you be hurting? If there was, like, a story that, like, Obama had relations with another man, like, what credibility? They like, these are two consensual adults. What does it matter? There's no credibility to be had. This is, like, on par. This is about as scandalous as the tan suit scandal, okay?
To prevent Michelle Obama from gaining traction or to create just some negative press around the Obamas, fine.
Michelle Obama has not given any indication that she's going to run for office in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know what the point of that would even be. There was a log cabin Republicans that were LGBTQ. Yeah, and they were complaining about Ron DeSantis. She also has no interest in running for office. Right, exactly. She has not indicated any motion or any action or as you mentioned, any interest in running for any office whatsoever. So I don't understand. Other than to be a bigot, there's no reason to have this line of thinking. To think that like somehow this is degenerate or would hurt their credibility in any way, shape, or form, because there's nothing there. Even if the story was true, right? And the fact that this guy is even talking about this, it just shows how deeply unserious he is. Because this is a literal non-story, and the only people pushing it are people like Tucker Carlson, okay? Literally just made it up. We have no evidence other than the allegations. And again, even if so, like, who cares? Say hello to the Bakita, everybody. You're a streamer, therefore your families are streamers, and 2 left. There she goes. Anywho.
Whatever. Simply put, the Democrats, the left, and
Okay, hold on, stop. The Democrats and the left are two different groups of people.
the media in this country.
And the media is also different groups of people. The media isn't left necessarily. Like, not all the media is left. So the Democratic Party is a separate group of people, or sometimes I guess they intersect, but they're different than the left. And the media is different. These are all different entities, or factions, or whatever you want to call it. Right? Dems have never been the left.
Entertained the most psychotic lies you could imagine about Brett Kavanaugh.
Again, who is talking about Brett Kavanaugh? This has nothing to do with Brett Kavanaugh. This is a desperate attempt to kind of, I guess, justify misinformation, or justify making up alternative realities of things that never happen, by trying to like compare them to something that the Democrats did, but have these two stories have nothing to do with each other. Nothing to do with each other. At the very least, like I said, all this with the Brett Kavanaugh stuff, all this was serious enough to have hearings about. All this was serious enough to have people testify under oath. None of this happened in this story. These are not comparable in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Because, like, the idea, I guess, that he's trying to construct is like, oh, Dems just made up stuff out of thin air. When the actual reality is, well, no, they had to have hearings about this, and people had to testify under oath about this, right? At the very least, they attempted to put their money where their mouth is, versus like literal tabloid level of reporting. That's the difference.
Tucker Carlson is simply engaging in the exact same behavior.
No. No, because again, if Tucker Carlson was engaging in the same, I guess, behavior, he would have this guy testify and bring up all the evidence. Furthermore, here's a question. Why are you comparing someone's alleged, why are you comparing, here's like the real question, which is pretty disturbing. Why are you comparing the allegations of rape to two men having consensual sex? Under no, like, to my understanding, The story isn't Obama Obama assaulted this man. The story is Obama slept with this man, or he slept with Obama, whatever. It doesn't matter. Why are you comparing the allegations of like sexual assault to literally just like two people, two consenting adults engaging in consenting or consensual sexual behavior? That's a bit strange, especially coming off the degenerate kind of rhetoric that he was talking about earlier. Yeah, we really start to see Tim's colors really shine through that, huh? Phenomenal stuff. Phenomenal stuff. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, I guess the GOP and Marjorie, well, I don't know what Marjorie Taylor Greene has it to do with this. This is about Tim Pool, I guess, and Tucker Carlson and Obama. Obama. All right.
Air raid sirens blared as the two men walked together.
President Joe Biden has released one of his first 2024 re-election ads, and this is coming at the same time as some stunning new polling. So I'll get to that data later, as well as some other poll that contradicts the poll. So it's all kind of weird, but we'll get to that in a bit. First, I want to show you this ad. It is a minute-long ad. This will be airing on 60 Minutes in battleground states this weekend. That's info from Alex Thompson at Axios. Here is the ad.
It was the first time in modern history
very significant moment on the world stage
that an American president went into a war zone not controlled by the United States.
A nearly 40-hour journey in and out of Ukraine.
President Biden left Washington, D.C. at 4 a.m. on Sunday. He landed in eastern Poland and then took a 9.5-hour train to Kyiv.
He entered Ukraine under the cover of night. And in the morning, Joe Biden walked shoulder to shoulder with our allies in the war-torn streets, standing up for democracy in a place where a tyrant is waging war to take it away.
Air raid sirens blared as the two men walked together.
In the middle of a war zone, Joe Biden showed the world what America is made of. That's the quiet strength of a true leader who doesn't back down to a dictator. Biden, president.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
I'm be honest. Not it's not that impressive. I'm gonna be honest.
The quiet strength of a true leader who doesn't back down to a dictator. While this ad doesn't really do anything for me, understand the...
Yeah, I guess that's the best way of putting it. That's the best way of putting it. Like, this ad doesn't really do anything for me. They don't show the thousands of cards. True, we got like a snapshot of like 5 of them.
The potential impact here on a 60 Minutes audience in battleground states. The focus here, surprised me that he would focus an entire ad on just this trip, but he's trying to put forward here this idea that he is the strong leader, somebody who is mature, somebody who is not outlandish, not unpredictable.
I mean, like, I think that there would be like a better way of maybe going about that, but okay.
Somebody who you can rely on. And for the audience they are aiming this for, again, a 60 Minutes audience.
True. I guess listen, folks, it's probably that ad's probably not for us. Yeah, 60-minute audience is not really it's not really us. 60 Minutes CBS viewers do vote, but yes, predictable.
I think this potentially could have, some effect, but I tend to wonder, is this the audience that Biden really needs to be chasing right now? Because ultimately, I think that the biggest potential gains for him come with turnout. And when we're talking about turnout, we're talking largely about younger voters. He needs to get younger people out to vote. Democrats win when turnout is high. Democrats win especially when young voter turnout is high. So this, understand, we're 14 months away, so this is just one of his ads. This is a very early ad. But I have to assume, going deeper into this campaign, he's going to have to focus more on younger voters and getting people who don't normally vote out to vote for him. Getting the same people he got back in 2020. He needs to get those people out again. This is where we get to some polling. So this came out on CNN today, and this is surprising for a variety of reasons. So here is a screen capture from some of their coverage. Let me just zoom into the actual results here. Biden is losing to everyone except for DeSantis, where he's tied. He's losing to Trump, which is amazing. And Ramaswamy, where he's actually up by 1 percentage point, which is so, considering the rise Ramaswamy's seen recently, and now everyone's going after him. He's not doing too well. So Nikki Haley, with, I guess you could say, the surprising lead here on Joe Biden. I would say that during the debate, Haley came off as maybe the most measured, which is kind of going to what Biden's appeal is. So maybe that, she's carving in there a little bit into Biden support because she comes off.
Yeah, Nikki Haley, apparently. I didn't see that. I wouldn't see that coming, but it is what it is. To be fair, Nikki Haley is not winning the primary.
For somebody who is not your typical Republican, as she is a woman, while at the same time someone who, again, appears to be more your standard politician. Trump, the fact that he's losing to Trump, Trump is under 4 indictments. What is it, like 91 charges? And you're losing to Trump in a national poll? Also understanding that, the popular vote, national polling, does not dictate elections. It's the Electoral College. So you're still losing to him in a national poll. I want to show you on election.
Yeah, I mean, like, these are within the margin of error. So, like, for all intents and purposes, like, it is a pretty much like statistical tie between Trump and Biden. DeSantis, even Pence and Biden are like statistical ties. And Ramos, like, all these are almost borderline statistical ties. That's not good. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like, we're just gonna pretty much ignore everybody else except Trump and Biden. Because none of these folks are going to win the nomination unless other extenuating circumstances happen. But it's just not. It's probably not going to happen. So either way, the point being is that a statistical tie this close is not good. A statistical tie to Trump is basically on the back foot. It's a losing it's a losing omen, I guess. New good official, welcome. GOP is a reality TV propaganda. Don't believe in COVID and 91 felony counts. Hunter's laptop and leave Trump alone. Yeah, but there's statistical tie right now, and that's not great. That's not great. What an upside down world where the criminal is still on top. Yeah, yes, but we are more than a year out from the election. Things can change. 100%. Yeah, 100%. That's true. That's true. But we have to keep this in mind, and that means that Biden and the Democratic Party have to really kick it into high gear as we get closer. But yes, you are absolutely true. You're absolutely correct. It can It can change, meaning things can get worse. I mean, that's also true. That's also another way of, that's also true. That's another way things can go. The point being is, we should be aware of this, right? We should be aware of this, especially after going over that story yesterday of what these conservative groups and what these conservative think tanks have in store. Should there be a scenario where the Republican candidate wins? Like this is very real, and this is very serious. These people will try to do or enact that project, whatever it's called, Project 2025 or whatever, and it becomes closer to that. It becomes closer to reality if you know. We're looking at a statistical tie, and that's not good. That puts Biden on the back foot.
Election day in 2020. So you have some context here. Biden was leading Trump by, on average, 7.2 percentage points, and of course he ended up, winning that election by millions of votes. But this is essentially around what you should be seeing as a Democratic president or candidate if you are expecting to win on election day. You need a healthy lead in polling to make up for the Electoral College. When you are losing to Biden or losing to Trump, I just don't. It's not looking good now.
Yeah, it's not a good place to be right now, as it stands, with the with the information that we have right now. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't right now. Of course, things can change. Biden could decide to actually do things. Should he choose, Biden can actually do things. But we'll see. But this is not good. At this point in 1976, Jimmy Carter was buried under a pile of peanuts on his farms. Things can change a lot. True.
Again, 14 months away, a lot to do here. But I'm going to get to some other polls that it just, I don't know. But losing to Pence, losing to Scott, losing to Tim Scott, really? Losing to Chris Christie. I would have expected Chris Christie to maybe be in the Nikki Haley spot here. But regardless, he's still beating Biden. Not looking good. Now, also worth mentioning here, in that same poll from CNN, 2/3 of Democrat-leaning voters don't want Biden as the nominee. Now, this has been sort of consistent basically throughout the past couple of years. Democratic voters want someone else. They mention his age as by far the biggest issue. I wonder what that really means when you're going up against likely Trump, who is almost the same age as Joe Biden, though you could argue Biden shows his age more in the way he looks. Though Trump doesn't look it either. It's just all the makeup he wears.
By what method? You mean like the surveys? Or the polls? I have a bad feeling that the right will try to cheat again to win, maybe even smarter ways. Maybe. I mean, if there are no serious consequences, then yeah, it's possible. By what method would the right cheat? Oh, this thing. Well, they could try more I guess more a more intelligent way of shoehorning fake electors like they tried last time. They could they've threatened to show up with armed militias around the ballot boxes or the whatever the heck, just to be a intimidation factor, and that could depress turnout. They could attempt to throw out ballots. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that they've tried in the last election that they could very well try again. Ballots are not counted in secret. All parties observe the process. Yes, that's true. That's true, but they don't need to cheat in the sense of like the ballots. They can do schemes like they did last time. But a judge can't extend an election if there are shenanigans in polling places. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, you can get the Supreme Court to award the election, which happened. happened in the Bush-Gore election. So, I mean, yeah, there could be a scenario where they could force, the election, especially a very close election, because we're looking at a very, very tight race right now as it stands. If the election was held today, it'd be a very, very tight election. So they could force another Gore v. Bush scenario. So I don't know. Conscious Canuck, these polls are not worth the pixels they are displayed on, since they're always polling registered Dems and GOP voters when 1/3 of the country is registered independent. Yes, I'm not saying that these are gospel. I'm saying that the same thing that I always say to Alio is that these aren't gospel, but also like these are bellwethers that you should be kind of taking a note of. And the fact of the matter is, if you have polls that say 2/3 of Democrat-leaning voters, that's not necessarily like, for sure Democrat voters are feeling this way. These are signs of concern.
But
any poll that has Christie beating anyone is suspect. Wow, true.
The performance, Biden has an issue with stuttering, which people attribute to age, which isn't really an age issue. But anyways, it's not looking good even from the view of Democratic voters. But what I find interesting here is this poll. So this came out, I think, the day before, Morning Consult here. Let me just get the date. So September 6th. Yeah, so this came out yesterday.
Polls are not votes. No, but I always respond with the same answer. They're not votes. They're not gospel, but they're definitely bellwethers, and they're definitely things that you need to keep in mind. They're definitely things that you need to keep in mind. And if you're at a statistical tie with your most likely opponent, that's just not good. It's just not good. It really is not good. Biden has always stutters, not because he's old. Yes, we know.
Biden posted,
as Howard Stern might say, the only race Chris Christie could win is a race to the nearest buffet. True.
This is his biggest lead yet in Democratic primary race. So in this CNN poll, you have 2/3 don't want Biden. Yet in this Morning Consult poll, Biden's support is actually growing among the primary race, where you have RFK, who has been losing support, thankfully. Marianne Williamson, who also has lost 1 percentage point here since July. And the someone else has also dropped since April from 8% to now 5% over the past couple months. So they have the option of saying, like, if these Democratic pollster or Democratic voters being polled here don't support Williamson or Kennedy, they could still say someone else, which this is what this means basically. 2/3 don't want Biden. But here they're saying no, Biden.
No, I think these are two different metrics, right? Because like there's a difference between like Democratic like primary voters versus you polling Democratic leaning people. So I think that's where the difference is, because I would suspect that Democratic leaning voters or Democratic leaning polls, well, whatever. Democratic leaning means that they're not necessarily like they're not Democrats, right? They just most of the time they may choose to be Democrats, but that does not mean that they are the same who are going to who are participating like actual like Democratic primary voters. These are two different groups, I think. Is the DNC changing the decision of Biden? Whispers a vote for Biden, but Kamala will replace Biden after 2 years. I'm not sure what that means. No, they're not. Biden's going to be the nominee. These polls are always sponsored by mass media. Mass media's interest in making sure the political race is so close that they will word the theme questions of these polls to make sure that the numbers are as close as possible. Yeah, that may be the case.
It's really hard to, everything is in how questions are framed, what information that people have, I guess who you're polling. But typically when we get to, CNN, SSRS, and Morning Consult, they're both very reliable pollsters. So it's very bizarre to see such a different result.
Well, yeah, because you're asking different groups of people, in my opinion. The reason why you're getting like these different results, these seemingly contradictory results, is because you're asking different people. You're asking different groups of people. You're asking like who. You're asking actual like Democratic primary voters versus like potential Democratic leaning voters. These are different things. These are different people. Hello, a person that has been banned from the serfs and the Majority Report. Hey, I'm a mod in the Majority Report. What the heck did you do? I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that.
Depending on the poll here, but Biden support growing among primary voters looks good here, at least compared to what you're seeing on CNN. Now, I want to get to some more data from that CNN poll. Here is their coverage of it, where they go a little deeper into some of the data.
You noted his approval rating is at 39%. 61% of Americans disapprove. This is our brand new poll conducted by SSRS. Look at that approval number over time. Since the spring, he's been hanging out in this very low, troubling approval rating for him, and it really has not fluctuated all that much. Take a look by party. You noted among Democrats, his approval rating is down a bit from where it was in July. He's at 74% among his own party faithful. Independents holding troublingly low for the president at 36%, obviously single digits among Republicans. And look at how Biden stacks up against all of his modern era predecessors at this point in their presidency. I'm just going to draw a line here to show us he's hanging out in this category with Trump and Carter. Something about Trump and Carter, they lost their re-election efforts.
So not looking good for Biden right now.
Yeah, this is not good. This is not good. Polls would be more accurate and believable if you kept the language of the questions consistent from poll to poll. Right, but like, I guess my only thing is that I believe they're polling different groups of people. They're not polling the same people. These are two different polls. So yeah, you're gonna get different results. Just outvote Republicans as the GOP is fastest. Yeah, my stance is not going to change. In fact, if anything, if there's anything to take away from this is that it's important to pay attention and realize that it can happen. There is, I'm not saying that it's certain, but there is an avenue, extenuating circumstances with withholding. There is an avenue where Trump wins. Okay, there is an avenue where Trump wins. Polling different people is what you're supposed to do. Poll respondents are not grand jury members. Right. No, like maybe I should rephrase that. I meant that they are polling like potential Democratic voters versus polling like primary Democratic voters who are like more um loyal, I guess, to the party who are participating in these primaries. Um and they're also polling what well, I don't know. It could very well be the case. I just sent you a tweet about CNN. Did you send it to me on Twitter? I'm saying, or I'm thinking that the reason why you got different results is because you're asking different groups of people. Oh, yeah. X, not Twitter. Hey, Heat, how's it going? Come here, cat. First, Bush was up there, but still lost. Past numbers do not inform the present. They're useless. Maybe so. Come on, kitty. Come here. The study was conducted for CNN here. The study was conducted for CNN via web and telephone on the SSR opinion panel, a nationally representative panel of adults 18 or older recruited using probability-based sampling technique. SSR is an independent research company. Surveys were obtained on August 25th to 31st with a representative sample of N1503 respondents with an oversample of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents to reach a total of 898 Republicans and Republican-leaning independents. The margin of sampling of error for total respondents is about plus 3.5 at the 95% confidence level. The design effect is 1.93. Yeah, it's about 3 plus or minus 3. Plus or minus 3, and you're still having like that close of a race, right? So even if you account for that, it's still a pretty close race, which is exactly the least ideal place that you want to be in. Come here, cat. It's not a good place you want to be in. Plus 3.5 is not a good margin of error, though. You want to keep it under 2 if you can. I would like a bigger group for polling. I mean, it's a decent sized poll. Again, even if you account for that plus 3.5 plus or minus 3.5, it's a pretty it's basically the same point, right? The point being is that The point being is that you have a very close race, right? That's not where you want to be.
Now, and understand, yes, still early, but this is why he has to use this time to really get voters back. I have to wonder how much of this continued decline in Biden support has to do with what is happening right now with student loan payments. So student loan interest has already resumed, and payments are going to restart in October. And just to give you context here, this is going to be the first time in more than 3 years that federal student loan borrowers will be required to pay their monthly student loan bills. This happening under Joe Biden is only going to hurt him. And I've covered this in the past. He has the ability through a different method to cancel student loan debt. He didn't use that. He used a different way that the Supreme Court was able to block. He is not using the extent of he's not using the power that he has to the extent that he can use it to help students. And that's one example. We can also go to his complete lack of fight against people like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema in the first 2 years. So as Luke Savage writes here, it's worth remembering that one of the key selling points for Biden during the 2020 primaries was that, unlike Bernie Sanders, he was an experienced dealmaker with an agenda that he could actually shepherd through Congress. And of course, Biden couldn't. I don't know how many times people have to be fooled to realize that, a moderate is not going to get things done. They will only capitulate. But here is another example of that. This is
this guy's like Bizarro Ron DeSantis. Nah, David actually has charisma. David actually has charisma and is actually like entertaining. People might change their vote. I mean, doubt it. I think that a lot of people are pretty much set. Like, what you want to know is where the independent vote is going to land. That's basically what you want to know. That's what Bizarro means in this instance. Well, that's true. Bizarro world. That's true. One of us needs to get our eyes checked. True. His best friends are Manchin, Rick Scott, and McConnell. He's in trouble. He looks like DeSantis, but is opposite in every respect. I disagree.
Lever most of Biden's social agenda.
I don't
never
think he looks like DeSantis.
So this is the Build Back Better Act, which passed the House, the democratically controlled House, versus the Inflation Reduction Act, which was, of course, the scaled down version under Manchin and Sinema in the Senate. But look at the differences here. I mean, the spending on climate way down.
Like,
child care.
He looks nothing like him, actually, now that I think about it.
Same thing with paid family medical leave, child tax
No, he
credit,
doesn't.
affordable
Look.
housing, Medicaid home community care, all just zeros. ACA subsidies, spending on that also down by half. Immigration reform, education workforce aid, Medicare hearing coverage, nothing. And then, of course, drastically reduced spending in other spending areas. So this is just this.
He does not. Look at that. Does that look like David Dole? It's not a hill I'm willing to die on. No, I'm just saying. I just don't see it. Even like with different pictures of him, he just doesn't look like him. No clue why he thinks a radical would succeed where a moderate fails, especially with Biden. At least has history to possibly squeeze through deals, whereas anyone else would lack even that tiny advantage. But the point being is that, like, when you try to capitulate, you only end up making deals that end up benefiting the right, and that's actually what's happened in some cases. The point being is that you need somebody that is going to be a bit more of a fighter, right? That's the argument. You need somebody that's going to be a little bit more willing to stand to stand on their principles. Because like the whole point was that he could be those. He was supposed to be the quote unquote deal maker, but that never materialized. Right? It's just not a thing that happens nowadays.
This is an example of the failed policy of pushing to work with both sides. This is the result of that. You have less people engaged, lower chance of getting people out to vote for you, because how are they going to trust you when you promised what you promised and then gave them this? And yeah, you could say, oh, it's not Biden's fault, it's everybody else. Biden as president has the power to put pressure on people. Was there one speech? Was there even like a line released in the media, anything about Biden directly criticizing Joe Manchin or Kyrsten Sinema? Did he try at all to put any public pressure on them in any way? He had the power to try and do more, and he didn't. And now he's living with the result of that. So he's going to have to do some crazy campaigning to get these people back. And ultimately, look, as I've said before, if I could vote, I would absolutely vote against the Republican nominee, which I assume is going to be Trump, but whoever the hell it is, because I know how much worse it can be. We saw how much worse it could be under Donald Trump. That doesn't mean that's going to be an appealing message or an effective message to get people out to.
Right. So the point being is that obviously you have to vote against GOP by any means necessary, but that's not good enough. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. Possible Biden bashing in video? I mean, yeah, kind of. That's perfectly okay and acceptable, because this is not the time to play around, and the Democratic Party has decided to play around. Biden invited both to the White House and applied pressure, but he didn't do it publicly for media consumption and storylines. I mean, like, wouldn't the point of having pressure to be public, to be like, hey, to go to the constituents of these senators and being like, hey, I don't know, man. It looks like they don't want to play ball, and that's going to end up hurting everybody involved. I don't know, maybe that would have been a better play to put more public pressure and appeal to these two senators' constituents. That could have been a thing he could have done. In fact, he ended up capitulating to Manchin by getting his pipeline approved. He gave Manchin his pet project, that pipeline. Putting pressure on the rabble-rousers would not be in the spirit of bipartisanship. True. I couldn't find the barfing emote. There's a barfing smiley face, right? Manchin runs the Senate. I thought it was McConnell. Oh, not on Twitch? Gotcha.
Child labour is broadly banned, right? But then when tech companies do it and kids are voluntarily childly laboring online, it doesn't count as child labor?
Let's back up a bit. Child labor? Online? How did we get here? It all starts with one of the largest social platforms on the internet.
Roblox.
The Roblox, there's so many games on Roblox. Roblox.
The Roblox community.
This is Roblox.
It is the most popular video game in the US and Europe.
If you're over the age of 25, you might only have a passing knowledge of what it is, if you've heard of it at all. But over half of kids aged 6 to 16 in the US alone are playing Roblox. You could just see it as a super popular kids game, but it's quite a bit more than that. See, Roblox isn't a game. It's a platform where players design games for other players, where kids are designing games for other kids.
You know what, Luna, you wipe the counters. I'm gonna go try something else.
This is Harrison. He's 8 years old and has been playing games on Roblox since he was 5.
What I like about Roblox is you can bond with other friends, connect to other people from faraway states or countries, and you can play games with them.
We also spoke with Antonio, who is 15 years old and has been designing games on the platform for years.
People make fun of Roblox kind of sometimes. So you're like, oh, you make a Roblox game?
Hey, there we go. Look at that. It's on, Now Restream Bot seems to have woken up. Look at that. That's showing up on the Twitch chat. There you go.
So.
Roblox isn't anything to make fun of, though. Developers like Antonio are serious about the craft. They're not just doing it for fun, though. For years, up until recently, Roblox advertised developing games there as a serious money-making opportunity. Problem is, game development is super hard work, and most Roblox-based developers with published work on the platform never actually receive money for any of it. Meanwhile, Roblox is worth over $17 billion, and its CEO David Baszucki alone is worth $1.8 billion.
Jesus. Just need a different platform. That's why we have YouTube, okay? So you can find and post the emotes that you need. Okay, and then slide back into Twitch. Despite polling struggles, Florida Governor DeSantis going all in on Iowa, honing in on the grassroots operation. What grassroots operation? Okay. DeSantis' campaign believes it will separate him from former President Trump and the rest of it. Yeah, good luck. It's probably not going to happen.
And those billions were built on extracting value from children. Not just through digital child labor, but by turning childhood into a candy-coated black market with exploitation around every corner.
Kids should be careful of using Roblox. People like to scam, online date, exploit your account.
This is The Classroom, and today we're dissecting how Roblox extracts value from children. I first got into this topic after talking to my coworker Gerald.
So this YouTube channel, People Make Games, they make content about game development. And Quentin from People Make Games explained Roblox amazingly.
These kids are not just hobbyists. They're doing real work that is driving the value of one of the biggest video game publishers in history.
I feel like he sort of became the face of Roblox criticism, so I really wanted to reach out to him.
Here are the 3 main points we learned from Quentin's reporting that sent us down this rabbit hole.
Roblox is not really a game. It's more of a game creation platform and marketplace where young developers make games and costumes and stuff and sell them. The second fact, Roblox runs on a currency called Robux, which is basically an internal currency that only works on the platform. And the third thing is that Roblox developers, aka the people who make this stuff, can cash out, but Roblox takes a massive cut, unlike—
What? They take 70%? What?
And sell them. The second fact, Roblox runs on a currency called Robux, which is basically an internal currency that only works on the platform. And the third thing is that Roblox developers, aka the people who make this stuff, can cash out, but Roblox—
More than 70%. Jesus Christ.
A massive cut, unlike anything else in the game industry.
In this video, I'm going to show you the best ways to make Robux stay to the end if you want to make millions of Robux.
Roblox says it's free to publish games, but that's not entirely true.
Publishing a game on the Roblox platform is easy, like 2 buttons to click, but then trying to get it to actually get views is harder.
There are over 50 million games, but the section where most users find new games to play, the Discover section, only shows the couple hundred most popular games. So, basically, you have to bid for advertising.
Or else they kind of just flop and no one plays them ever.
To be clear, you're bidding money for the chance to get views. It's essentially gambling for advertising. And if your gamble doesn't pay off, your game doesn't even show up in the Discover section.
The more you
Yes, and they're doing this. They're marketing this to children. They're marketing a effectively kind of like a gambling game, and essentially getting them to play like developer, which keeps them on the platform, and their quote unquote labor, I guess, keeps driving up the wealth or the value of Roblox because more people are using it, and it just kind of keeps going. And these folks aren't really seeing a penny of it. Not really.
pay, the more likely you are to get there. But then someone else might pay more and then you won't be on.
Next, they're taking a sizable 70% cut whenever somebody buys your game, meaning your profits stack very slowly. Then to cash out at all, you have to have made $300 worth of Robux, or 30,000 Robux, which isn't easy. This is significantly higher than other similar games which have much lower minimums for payout.
Jesus Christ. It's not classified as child labor, so thank you, capitalism. True, it's not. They're just getting kids to do it for free by, I guess, disguising it as a game.
Oh, and when they pay you, that 30,000 Robux isn't worth $300 anymore. You'll actually get around $105.
Wow.
You see, earned Robux are only worth about a third when they're paid out. You heard that right. When you buy 100 Robux from them, they're worth $1. But when they're paying you, that 100 Robux becomes 35 cents.
That's wild. That's wild. Okay, that's something that, like, I feel like is illegal, but probably not because, you know, capitalism. But that feels freaking illegal. Like, how do you manipulate the value of whatever? Okay.
Most devs
makes no sense.
Never end up having to worry about profits since most are never able to cash out at all, and Roblox gets to keep all of that money inside their system. A ton of the problems with Roblox stem from this fake money scam. Where have we seen this before?
Historically, mining and logging camps in America, the companies behind these would pay workers in corporate script rather than US dollars. Script you could only pay in the company town, in the company store. And if you wanted to exchange your script for US dollars, the company charged you a fee to do that. And this advantages the companies because they could take away your ability to spend script, and they could ensure that you're using your script in shops that the company owns. That is exactly what Roblox is doing. And it's banned in America, but not on the internet.
All that fake money is very real to someone, though.
Wow. That's wild. That's the minimum exchange to prevent users from revolting. Yep. Web platform economics, yeah, but this is beyond. This is literally a freaking scam. This is literally a freaking scam. This is wild. I didn't know that Roblox, like that's the ecosystem that Roblox operates under. I had no idea. I thought it was just like some children's game that kids play. Worse than Twitch? Yeah. Like, imagine if Twitch only operated on biddies, on Twitch bits, like the you know, the little Twitch bits. Imagine if the entire, like, platform of Twitch only operated and exchanged in biddies, and they get to keep, like, the majority of it. Even though like every biddy is supposed to be worth 1 penny or something to that effect, right? Yeah, no, this is far worse. I think that this is far worse than Twitch, okay? Listen, Twitch is pretty freaking bad, and Twitch takes a lot of, like, streamers' revenue, but it's not Roblox bad, okay? I don't think so. Alio, thank you for the 8 biddies. I appreciate it. No, I don't think it's worse than Twitch. Or rather, I don't think Twitch is worse than Roblox based on what I'm seeing, okay? At least, like, the creators on Twitch, at least creators on Twitch have a lower threshold for payout. They have subscription programs, even if Twitch takes a good chunk of the money. Hello, cat. Anyways, it's a benevolent overlord. Yes, my benevolent overlord. 52 bits this far. Yeah, and they're worth 52 bits. To the streamer, you know, that's when you that's why you're seeing so many sandbox type games coming out. It allows you user created content where the user pays to create the content. Yeah, that sounds like illegal, man. That's just not right.
Dave Baszucki, he's the CEO of Roblox. Dave, it's great to see you. Want to talk about the earnings?
We generated over $100 million of cash in Q1. It's how we run the business.
Roblox, the company, is profiting wildly off of this.
Long term, there's so much on our platform that is going to really let everyone be a creator.
They're generating so much money. It is just unthinkable to me that the people who create their product are not being compensated or not being given a slice of that pie.
It's like capitalist dream, right? It's like the ultimate capitalist dream. You have free labor. Free labor is creating all the value of your company. And hey,
it's just unthinkable to me that the people who create their
Sorry, there's a cat on the keyboard right now. Hold on. Stop it. Ugh. Okay, sorry about that. Number one reason I have a keyboard that I can turn off. Oh man, cat attempting to get ahead of the attention economy. True. Hey, Heat, thank you so much for the 8 biddies as well. It is a biddy party. Thank you for joining. Not forgetting streaming and streaming on Hulu, so many dollars. Yeah, but like at least these streaming services, like, man, if you're a creator there, at least there's some kind of way of like generating some income instead of like giving like all your value and all your labor for absolutely free, and literally get nothing in return, and then delivering and increasing the value of that company by a lot. By a lot.
Hundreds, 150.
What that means is that a lot of the shady practices
I've spoken to Roblox
making a lot more money on Fiverr. Given a slice of that pie.
That the company owns. That is exactly what Roblox is doing. And it's banned in America, but not on the internet.
All that fake money is very real to someone, though.
Dave Baszucki, he's the CEO of Roblox. Dave, it's great to see you. Want to talk about the earnings?
We generated over $100 million of cash in Q1. It's how we run the business.
Roblox, the company, is profiting wildly off of this.
Long term, there's so much on our platform that is going to really let everyone be a creator.
They're generating so much money. It is just unthinkable to me that the people who create their product are not being compensated or not being given a slice of that pie. This is something that you can only see if you have an account, but it sort of blew this whole thing wide open for me. This is just a jobs hub for children, which many of these jobs pay in Robux. I applied to some, I didn't hear back. Many of them say things like, you have to be 13 or older.
Seeing this page, I mean, find jobs right at the top of create.roblox.com. Like, it does stop being play.
Oh, and then the compensation there is 200 Robux. So like, oh God. 100,000 Roblox is $1,000. Is that 20 cents? I mean, that seems bad.
The job board is so bad.
20 cents. 20 cents. For a job, for a video game developer. $2? Wait, is it $2? No, I think that Roblox takes that, and it ends up being like 20 cents or something. Whykick.com exists, more payouts. I mean, allegedly, I don't know if that ends up being the case. Which you can then cash out for 70 cents. Nice! If you get the skills to create better content, you can give away for the profit of others. True. That's true, Echo Wrestle Dragon. She made a beeline for my freaking keyboard on top of my laptop, and now there's like cat hair on top of that. Now there's cat hair on top of that. And on me, but that's okay.
Bad, Antonio has decided to bypass it entirely.
It's not that easy to make money on Roblox, but using third-party apps like Fiverr, for example, I've earned way more money than Roblox.
When we looked at the numbers, it was. Like, he's absolutely right. He was making a lot more money on Fiverr. So if we're in a situation where people are doing real labor and a website like Fiverr is giving them better opportunities than the place where they are selling the labor itself, that is insane.
Fiverr should not be the better alternative to get paid.
There's no Roblox HR, no Roblox Developers Union effort, nowhere these underpaid and overworked kids can turn to as their labor rights are violated multiple times over.
I've spoken to Roblox developers who might be 14 and in school and crunching, working 10, 12 hours on weekends just to try and get their game out according to pressures that are applied to them by a boss who might be another kid who you've not met. Like, it's just crackers.
There were so many things that weren't just labor that were sort of coming up, that were other forms of exploitation.
Basically, it's just about wringing as much Robux out of the system as possible.
It's something we could call the financialization of childhood. What that means is that a lot of the shady practices present in the real economy are here too, but targeted at kids. The kids are straight up gambling with money. Money which has been turned into Robux first so David Baszucki can get to it, but still. Scams are prevalent all over Roblox, including in their most popular game, Adopt Me. Here's Harrison again, the 8-year-old Roblox player we spoke to who's pretty savvy about problems with the platform. Harrison called Adopt Me
like the most scamming game.
Harrison told us that kids, or even adults, can steal from each other in the game. There's also giant corporate experiences like Walmart Land or Nike Land, which are less like games and more like big, loud stores.
I'm gonna go get the burritos. So yes, Chipotle is now officially inside of Roblox.
It's almost like going to the mall back in like the early 2000s, but this time online. I think the harm for kids is that they're being used as a way to generate more money or revenue for these companies without their consent.
So all the biggest and branded games are trying to squeeze kids for money, and they're all brimming with thieves and scam artists. Remember, this happens because there's tons of money, Robux, flowing through the platform. And the corporation gets at least a 30% cut whenever any of it moves around.
Some other parents, they're budgeting probably $100 to $150 a month.
Harrison gets $20 a month for Roblox from his dad, and he's
$150 a month?
He's actually really conscious about not spending more of his dad's money.
Do you want me to spend $100 or are you okay with the 20?
No, I'm okay with the 20 or the 5.
Okay, good.
We wanted to focus specifically on the labor and financial exploitation of children, but we do have to point out one thing that Harrison said about predators on Roblox that blew our minds and even got our cameraman to step in.
There's a lot of people, like our adults, and they try to get advice from you, so they could research you and try to track you down. I don't know why.
When did that happen?
I don't know, I don't know, people start doing it now.
So someone's asking your name?
Yeah, your name, your
your real
info.
name or your avatar name?
Your real name and your info about your places, where you live, what age are you, and what I just do is just lie about my age.
Dear. Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah. These are pedophiles. Chances are these are pedophiles. Yes, exploitation preps kids to be used to getting exploited when they get exploited when they're older. Yep. Yeah. Totally. Sorry for the grab nods. It's I understood. No problem. I taught my daughter to read books instead. Nice. Honestly, good. It's better than Roblox. Yeah, gross. Yeah, gross. Cause what he's describing is most likely some kind of predator or pedophile.
A person, they introduce themselves in a certain way.
For adults, they type really fast.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Adults type really fast. Yeah.
So that's why I know who it is. A kid or adult, they type for minutes, and the adult type in for 2 seconds.
And the fact that this kid is onto that is wild. The fact that this kid is onto that is wild.
Done.
So which game does this happen in?
In every single game.
Just to recap here, this is an 8-year-old child talking about the lengths he has to go to avoid predators on a children's platform. One of the largest kids platforms on Earth, which has again made billions off of these children. Meanwhile, the CEO is saying things like this.
Do you think more mature things like nudity will ever be allowed?
I completely understand, Heat. These are the type of people that just should not be in society. Where's Roblox moderation? Nowhere to be found, apparently.
On Roblox in any way?
I think what I would say is we would lead first and foremost with safety and civility, and then second with mirroring what happens in the physical world. And so I would never rule it out.
Red flag. Wait a minute. This is supposed to be a kids platform. I mean, if you want to include adult content, why not make an entire separate adult world that's not connected to Roblox, right? That's perfectly fine. If you want to do a whole other platform that's not connected to Roblox, that operates in its own completely separate environment, where it has no connection, no connection in terms of advertising, no connection literally to any of that. I mean, that's perfectly fine. Doesn't even have to be a predator getting kids' data, potentially gets the parents' data, which they can milk later on. Oh, so another type of predator, right? Only Roblox 18 plus, but not Roblox though, because because when I see Roblox, I think immediately children's game. I think immediately children's game. So I don't know. It just feels weird. Roblox fans.
standard of care if you're running a school or making children's TV that you're going to treat kids with incredible care and caution. What's nuts about Roblox is that it is arguably the largest source of children's entertainment today, and it operates with just the absolute bare minimum of care for its audience.
We found this video really difficult to make because, more so than other workers we cover, the Roblox workforce, mostly children, are at a unique disadvantage to fight for their rights.
It's a community that doesn't often speak out about Roblox for fear of reprisal or for fear of hurting their own standing within the community. It's not easy for them to escape this ecosystem.
I was an art teacher for a little while, so I've taught kids about the age of Roblox's core audience. So like younger artists or game devs are incredibly passionate and frankly would do this stuff just because they love it.
And they do on Roblox.
And they do. That sort of worker base is ripe for exploitation.
And loving what you do should not be licensed to be unfairly compensated or to be exploited.
Young Roblox developers like Antonio want to make a career out of their work, and Roblox is priming them to work in a professional video game industry that already has its own problems with labor exploitation.
They're on
the
Twitch.
Standards that Roblox Corporation is setting for development and what represents fair pay and what represents, like oversight and workplace malpractice, that's stuff that is then surely only going to widen and get bigger. So the children growing up playing Roblox now who expect, 20% cut of the 100% of revenue that their game makes, they're going to grow up and that's what they will be used to.
Roblox isn't blind to the issues that we've talked about. They just know that their audience doesn't have power and that mainstream media and legislators aren't paying attention. But Roblox Corp is trying to solve their digital child labor problem in their own way before anyone notices. First, David Baszucki wants to age up their user base.
There's still a lot of room for growth in USA 9 through 12, but historically, the opportunity we have in 17 and up, it's massive, really.
And he also wants to eventually replace a lot of the labor itself with artificial intelligence.
We started rolling out more creation type AI, so both material generation and code generation. There's that Westworld episode where someone sits down and says, do this and do this.
The narrative storyteller.
That's all
role.
going to happen.
You think so?
Absolutely.
And the AI models replacing developers would be trained on millions of experiences built by Roblox users. Most of these users will never see a single cent of compensation for their work that is building the future profits of this company. Roblox has had years to deal with the problems we've outlined. We just can't trust them to handle it on their own anymore.
The product is so good that it's not going anywhere. It's got so much funding now that there's not going to be a competitor anytime soon. So this is the company. This is almost like the public utility. This is what we've got. But it's a utility with absolutely no oversight and no government even understanding what it's doing, let alone legislating against it. And that is absurd.
So what sort of oversight do the kids on Roblox want?
Lower how much Robux you need to cash out and increase how much the Robux is worth. And lower the cut Roblox takes to maybe 10% or something.
The FTC has been called upon to take action in major recent cases in the gaming sector, and the Federal Trade Commission Act specifically prohibits unfair or deceptive acts or practices in commerce. Half of the kids in America are on Roblox, and all of them deserve labor protection.
What? Half of the kids on America? That's wild.
Roblox is dictating the conditions of our future, beta testing the labor rights of the metaverse on children. If we don't regulate them now, the business model and predatory practices of Roblox are coming for all of us. Thanks for watching The Classroom. We're always looking to tell more stories.
That's an adorable cat. But that's wild. That's wild. Alright, so we're gonna have to speed run through some of these. Okay. This one is the least, I guess, the least important. Small update on this trial. Trump is trying to move his election interference case in Georgia to the federal realm. Whether or not that's going to end up happening, we don't know. But apparently a few of these defendants co-defendants have attempted to do this. So we'll see what the result is on that. But I guess he feels, or these people feel like they're going to get a better shake in the federal realm. But we'll see. We'll see. The future is bleak. Well, not going to lie. There is truth to that. Peter Navarro has been convicted of contempt of Congress. Former President Trump trade advisor has been convicted of contempt of Congress for not complying for a subpoena. Navarro is the second ex-aide to former President Trump to be prosecuted for his lack of cooperation with the committee. Steve Bannon was convicted last year. Bannon's case is currently on appeal. After the verdict was read, Navarro's lawyers sought a mistrial, raising concerns about any influence the alleged protesters who may have had when the jurors took a break outdoors Thursday afternoon. The U.S. District Judge Amit Mehta did not immediately rule on that motion. A judge scheduled Navarro's sentencing for January 12th of 2024. So, yeah, another one bites the dust. All right, so I think we can.
Many of Donald Trump's.
I think we can manage here.
Many of Donald Trump's criminal co-defendants are turning against him in court. This is super interesting. You know, one of the aspects of the timing of Trump's trial that we've discussed is how it will interlock with the 3 other criminal trials that he will be facing, as well as his candidacy, as well as him trying to be the Republican nominee, and if he becomes the Republican nominee, trying to become president of the United States. And so there have been a lot of these logistical questions. Can Trump be in 4 criminal trials at once? How can he do this? Is this just going to be a problem for him? Trump wants to delay his trial. At least one of those trials is set to start in early 2024, and Trump's furious. We've talked about all of that. But there's something else here. What about Trump's co-defendants? Because increasingly it appears as though the co-defendants with Trump, high-level advisors, lower-level associates, they are getting ready to turn on Donald Trump and what I would call tell the truth as they should. There's a very interesting piece in Politico, which we will link to, where our friend Michael Cohen is quoted. Michael Cohen's been on the show a few times. I've been on his show. This is Donald Trump's former personal attorney. And Michael Cohen has said many times, and I think he's right, Trump doesn't care about anybody but himself. And we've seen this time and time again. Hilariously, you know, we saw Trump's former lawyer, Jenna Ellis, talking about Trump's not helping me raise money. He's not giving me money. He's not helping me raise money for my legal defense. What the hell is going on here?
I'm going to bury my head in the sand. Oh, man. Here's what I will say. Like, even understanding the, you know, severity of the situation, I think that, as always, my 2 cents on that is, like, always, like, accept the severity of the situation and then channel that energy to do something. Then Jen Owens calls Trump a warrior on X.
This is a disaster. We talked about that. So we know that Trump cares mostly about himself. As co-defendants realize that, he's not defending us in public, mostly. He's not helping us financially with these defenses. Why are we going to hide behind him? We should just say everything we know. And indeed, if Donald Trump was the mastermind, if Donald Trump was the main guy behind all of the alleged crimes, why would they try to defend him? One such example we talked about last week is this low-level employee from Mar-a-Lago who changed his story. He had a MAGA lawyer, and he said, no, I don't know anything about anybody trying to delete surveillance footage related to documents at Mar-a-Lago. I don't know a thing about it. Nope, don't know a thing about it. And then all of a sudden, the MAGA lawyer is gone. And then next thing you know, he says, I'm recanting that testimony. That's one example. We then have 3 Republican activists in Georgia indicted alongside Trump. They are now all saying Trump was running the show. We did what he asked. It's that simple. This seems to be the direction things are going. Now, in terms of it being characterized as they are throwing blame at Trump, they may just be stating facts. Like, it may just be the truth that that's what it is. It is Trump's fault. Trump was the mastermind, etc. One really important aspect to this is that, sure, you would sometimes hear a little bit about voter fraud or mail-in voting or whatever, and we would look into it, and it was like a handful of Republicans that were actually caught committing in-person voter fraud. But before Trump spent 6 months and subsequently years talking about voter fraud and how the election was stolen, the country at large did not doubt the electoral process. Trump lying about it.
Right, like this was all Trump. This was all Trump repeatedly priming the pump for months and months and months at a time. This is like, I think, pretty straightforward. If it is the case that ends up that these co-defendants end up turning on him, that would be phenomenal. I mean, like, we saw the trial of we saw the trial of the domestic terrorists, the Proud Boys. We saw the trial of the domestic terrorists. They tried to say that they shouldn't suffer consequences. It was actually, they were doing it at the behest of Trump. So this kind of theme isn't new. Where does Pac-Man live? I have no idea. No idea. It is pretty. It's got a nice background there. Or maybe he's on vacation. Maybe he's on vacation and he just taking time to work.
And continuing to lie about it is what got so many new people to doubt the electoral process. Beforehand...
Oh, Pac-Man is in Puerto Rico? Gotcha.
You had a country that anecdotally might have been concerned about irregularities here or there, but we, generally speaking, trusted the process. Trump is to blame for changing that. And so if that's the top, and subsequent to that, it's try to seize voting machines, let's send fake electors, let's put pressure on Georgia officials to change the results, then Trump really would be to blame in that scenario. Now, it's going to be really funny if indeed Trump does delay his trial, but some of these other co-defendants have earlier trials, and they go in there and they go, Trump told me to do it, this was Trump's idea, Trump was running the show. Trump will start attacking them on social media. And as we already know, judges in Trump's various cases are concerned. They've admonished Trump about the witness intimidation. Trump successfully delaying his trial, or even if he doesn't delay it, but the co-defendants going sooner, could lead, once again, to Trump attacking witnesses on social media, intimidating witnesses on social media, and then potentially having repercussions up to and including pretrial detention. Do I think it will happen? Probably not. Could it happen? It absolutely could happen.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the dude should already be in pretrial detention. I'm not gonna lie. Tyler Go, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it.
The other last aspect to this is we know Trump was the driving force behind all of this. And the interesting thing that happens as the co-defendants realize this guy doesn't care about me. He's not going to help me with my legal bills. I'm basically completely out here on my own. One of the things they are obviously realizing is it was a really stupid idea to get involved in this stuff in the first place. It's too late for them. But maybe it will serve as a cautionary tale for others who are thinking of pledging their undying devotion to their orange leader by being willing to commit crimes for him. If it saves someone in 2024, then that will be a really good
that's a really charitable way of viewing the world, because he's basically assuming that there is going to be some logic and reason behind these thought processes, whatever. He's banking on there being some rationality behind this. Oh man, the power got to their heads. True. Yeah, maybe so. Devin Packman did college and lived in Massachusetts, as I live in Massachusetts. That's true.
Let me know what you think. Is anyone going to stay behind Trump now that they are facing charges, or are they all going to throw the guy under the bus? Let me know in a comment. Let me know in an email.
I mean, I don't know if they're all going to throw him under the bus, but if that's the case, this is definitely a trial for the ages, that's for sure. Yes, David does have a child. All right, folks, we have a couple of more articles. Abortion surge in states near those with new bans. Surprise, surprise. States geographically near the ones that banned abortion after Roe v. Wade was overturned saw sharp increases in the number of procedures performed, likely due to the influx of border-hopping patients, according to a new analysis. Excuse me, from the Guttmacher Institute. Patients are proving highly motivated to travel to get the care that they need in the face of state bans, according to Guttmacher, a research organization that supports abortion rights. But for some, that involves overcoming logistical and financial challenges. Yeah, like, of course. Yeah. I mean, this is the logical conclusion, right? Because, you banning these procedures doesn't mean that people don't need them and will not go to get them. Michael Cohen should have been the warning, right? And yet, these people decided, that they were going to participate in this. I mean, like I said, David's putting on rose-colored glasses by thinking that some rationality is going to prevail with these type of people. It's not, in my opinion. Major increases in abortions were found in states that protected access to the procedure and are near states where it's banned, based on a comparison of 2022 and 2020 and 2023 data. Roe was overturned in 2022. Colorado saw an 89% increase over the 3-year period, equivalent to 5,990 abortions. Illinois had a jump of 69% and an increase of 18,300. South Carolina had a 124% increase, or 3,270 more abortions from 2020. However, the state adopted a 6-week abortion ban that took effect last month. One sharp increase were logged in Washington and New Mexico. Abortion has been rising nationally before the Supreme Court struck down the federal protection, and increasing 8% by 2017 and 2020. Guttmacher noted that some data suggests that the increase continued into 2022. The likelihood of more bans or restrictions on interstate travel will create larger regional clusters of states with bans and increase the likelihood that patients will have to cross multiple state lines to get care. Virginia is the only southern state that hasn't banned or restricted abortion since the fall of Roe, and the issue will loom over the state's closely watched legislative election this fall. 14 states with outright bans or legal uncertainty that forced providers to stop performing procedure in the first half of this year accounted for more than 113,000 abortions in 2020, or about 12% of all U.S. abortions. Yeah. Oh, that's true. The UAW is threatening to strike. There's about next week is the deadline, so I guess we'll keep an eye on that. All right. So to leave on a lowercase w, because, some hopium is always good. Biden cancels last oil and gas leases in Alaska's Arctic refuge and overturned the sales held by Trump. In an aggressive move that angered Republicans, Biden administration canceled the 7 remaining oil and gas leases in the Alaska Arctic National Wild Refuge on Wednesday, overturning sales held in the Trump administration's waning days, and proposed stronger protections against development on vast swaths of the National Petroleum Reserve, Alaska. The Department of Interior scrapping the lease comes after the Biden administration disappointed environmental groups earlier this year by approving the Willow Project in the Petroleum Reserve, a massive project by ConocoPhillips, where basically that company got everything that they needed and wanted. Some critics who said the approval of Willow flew in the face of Biden's pledge to address climate change, which is true. Lauded Wednesday's announcement, but also true that can be both. But we can have both of these actions. We can both say that approving the Willow project completely flies in the face of any pledge to address climate change, while also saying that taking away oil leasing is good. In fact, more of that, please. But they said more could be done. Obviously, litigation over the approval of the Willow project is pending. Alaska's home to many of America's most breathtaking natural wonders and culturally significant areas. As climate crisis warms the Arctic more than twice as fast as the rest of the world, we have a responsibility to protect this treasured region for all ages, said Biden in a statement. His actions meet the urgency of the climate crisis and will protect our land and water for generations to come, said Biden. I don't know if these, this one action meets the urgency of the climate crisis, but I mean, it was the right thing to do. If the option is to not approve these leases or to rescind these leases, then obviously the correct choice is to take away those leases, right? To rescind them. So yeah, but I wouldn't put it in the realm of actions meeting the urgency of the climate crisis. Like, actions that would meet the urgency of the climate crisis would mean to like move the entire country in a wartime effort kind of deal, to literally mobilize the entire country to attempt to radically change the way our energy infrastructure, not only to upgrade our crumbling energy infrastructure, but in order for it to be capable of holding the new like renewable energy, but to set that up as well. I mean, it would have to be incredibly aggressive, but none of that's going to happen. One step forward, a billion steps back. Yeah, something like that. I wouldn't say a billion, but yeah. I'm just calling this a lowercase w, The Republican governor condemned Biden's move and threatened to sue. At least one Democratic lawmaker said the decision could hurt indigenous communities in an isolated region where oil development is an important economic driver. But also, like, you know what else is hurting like indigenous communities? Like the destruction of their land, okay? The destruction of their land, the poisoning of their waters. I don't know, just saying. 100%, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm not going to say no to this. Interior Secretary Deb Haaland, who drew criticism for her role in the approval of the Willow project on Wednesday, said no one will have the right to drill for oil in one of the most sensitive landscapes on Earth. However, a 2017 law mandates another lease sale by late 2024. Administration officials say they intend to comply with the law. The administration also announced proposed rules aimed at providing stronger protections against new leasing and development in portions of the National Petroleum Reserve, Alaska, that are designated special areas for their wildlife, subsistence, scenic, or other values. The proposal still must go through public comment. Willow lies within the reserve, but it was not expected to be affected by the proposed rules. The Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, 1.5 million acres, coastal plain which lies along the Beaufort Sea on Alaska's northeastern edge, is seen as sacred by indigenous. I am not going to pretend to even know how to pronounce this. Gwich'in, because it's where caribou, which is where caribou, they rely on, migrate and come to give birth. The plain is marked by hills, rivers, and small lakes and tundra. Migratory birds and caribou pass through the plain, which provides habitat for wildlife, including polar bear and wolves. Alaska political leaders, including some Democrats, have long pushed to allow oil and gas drilling in the refuge, in part because of the economic impact on indigenous communities in an area with few other jobs. Many of those same voices pressed Biden to approve the Willow project for the same reason. I'm deeply frustrated by the reversal of these leases, said Representative Mary Peltola, a Democrat, using a common shorthand for the refuge. This administration showed that it's capable of listening to Alaskans with the approval of the Willow project and It is some of those same Inupiat North Slope communities who are most impacted by this decision. I will continue to advocate for them and Alaska's ability to explore and develop our natural resources. I mean, like, I don't know if this is the way. Sorry. Alaska's congressional delegation in 2017 succeeded in getting the language added to a federal tax law that called for U.S. government to hold 2 lease sales in the region by late 2024. Drilling opponents on Wednesday said that it urged Congress to repeal the leasing provision from 2017, the leasing provision from the 2017 law, and permanently make the coastal plain off limits to drilling. It's nearly impossible to overstate the importance of today's announcements for Arctic conservation, said Williams, the president of the Wilderness Society. Once again, the Arctic Refuge is free of oil leases. Our climate is a bit safer, and there's renewed hope for permanently protecting one of the last great wild landscapes in America. Alaska Republican U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan denounced Biden's action as the latest volley in what he called a war on Alaska. The other 2 leases were issued as part of the first of its kind sale for the refuge in 2021, were previously given up by the small companies that held them amid legal wrangling and uncertainty over the drilling program. After taking office, Biden issued an executive order calling for a temporary moratorium on activities related to the leasing program and for the Interior Secretary to review the program. Howland later in 2021 ordered an environmental review, and after concluding there was multiple legal deficiencies, underlined the Trump-era leasing program on how to the activities related to the leasing program pending new analysis. The draft environmental review was released yesterday. The Alaska Industrial Development and Export Authority, a state corporation that won 7 leases in a 2021 sale, sued over the moratorium, but a federal judge recently found the delay by the Interior to conduct a new review was not unreasonable. The corporation obtained the leases to preserve drilling rights in case oil companies did not come forward. Major oil companies sat out the sale, held after the prominent banks had announced they would not finance the Arctic oil and gas projects. Bernadette Dementieff, the executive director of the, again, I'm not going to pretend I know how to pronounce that, Gwich'in Steering Committee, thanked the administration for the lease cancellation, but issued a warning. We know that our sacred land is only temporarily safe from oil and gas development. We urge the administration that our leaders in the Congress to repeal the oil and gas program and permanently protect the Arctic Refuge. So to say, like, the indigenous people are going to suffer because of, like, the economic impact, like, the indigenous people are saying that we need to protect these lands. So I don't know what these people are talking about. It just seems like they just want to virtue signal about pretending to care about, like, indigenous people just so that they can shoehorn these fossil fuel projects. All right, folks, we made it. We did it. We got through all the articles in a timely and orderly manner. So we made it. Awesome. Smooth sailing, folks. All right, folks. Again, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. It really does help us out, as some of you have already done. You get free emotes, and if you want to support the channel but cannot do so monetarily, that's okay. Go on the YouTube channel, as Michael Hasser just posted the link. Hit the big red subscribe button. It really does help us out. Spread the word. We're here Monday to Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. We do the news. We do the politics. Bring a friend. It really does help us out. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you for the biddies, the follows, the subscriptions, all of that. You guys are what makes this channel grow. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Michael Hasser. Thank you, Heat, for keeping it chill, for keeping the chat chill. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you. Thank you guys. You guys are what makes this channel grow. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. See ya. Yes, and join the Discord. All right, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.